I can still pinpoint the exact moment my blood froze solid. It was 7:12 a.m. I shuffled outside in my slippers to grab the mail like I did every morning. And there it was. My mailbox wasn't just stuffed. It was entombed. Gray cement bubbled out from the seams like the box had spent the whole night vomiting concrete. I shoved my hand inside and hit a stone-solid wall. No letters, no ads, nothing. Just a coffin where my mail used to be. At first, I figured it was a prank. Some bored teenager with a vendetta and a hardware store budget. Then I glanced across the street and saw her planted on her manicured lawn in a pink robe, arms folded, sipping coffee like she was admiring the sunrise. Karen, HOA president, self-crowned empress of Maple Ridge Estates. The same woman who once fined me $150 because my Christmas lights were half a shade too warm. She didn't even bother hiding the smirk. My stomach sank. This wasn't kids fooling around. This was a declaration. I grabbed a screwdriver and started hacking at the cement right there on the sidewalk. Shards flying everywhere. Cars slowing as neighbors gawked. Karen just waved like she was in a parade float. My cheeks burned. I'm not a violent man. But in that moment, I genuinely considered sprinting over and javelin throwing her stupid Yard of the Month sign straight through her bay window. By the time I'd scraped out a fist-sized crater, I found the first clue, a single Polaroid wedged deep inside the hardening sludge. A close-up of my own mailbox with the words, "Next time at your garage," scrawled in red Sharpie. My hand trembled so hard I nearly dropped it. This wasn't about lawn rules anymore. This woman had snapped. I called the post office. The lady on the line went completely silent after I described what I was staring at. Then she said 5 words that turned my anger into pure dread. "Sir, that's a federal crime." Federal crime? I looked up again. Karen was filming me now, zooming in like she was gathering evidence for her next HOA slideshow. She mouthed something I couldn't hear, but I'm almost certain it was, "Smile." I wish I could say I stayed calm. I didn't. I yelled across the street, "You just committed a felony, Karen." She lifted her mug in a cheerful toast and disappeared inside, her screen door snapping shut like a guillotine. Gunshot. That night, I couldn't sleep. Every creak outside felt like her creeping back across the lawn with another sack of Quikrete. My wife kept murmuring, "Let the police deal with it." But we both knew our local officers treated Karen like she was their unofficial mayor. They'd probably show up, shrug, and tell me to try being a more cooperative neighbor. So I did the one thing she never, ever imagined I would. I dialed the number the woman at the post office had given me, the Postal Inspection Service hotline. The man who answered sounded like nothing surprised him anymore, right up until I said the word cement. Then even he hesitated. "Hold on. You're telling me someone deliberately obstructed a United States mailbox using construction concrete?" "Yes. Stay away from it. Do not touch it again. That mailbox is now considered a federal crime scene." I ended the call and stared out the front window. Karen's porch light was glowing bright, like she was perched there waiting for a second round. What she didn't know was that the people coming for her didn't care about her laminated HOA rulebook or her 2019 Most Neighborly Award. These people wore badges stamped with U.S. Postal Police, and they were already on their way. 2 days later, I was reheating leftover pizza when my doorbell cam erupted. I opened the app and nearly dropped my phone. 3 unmarked sedans sat parked sideways across my driveway, and 6 figures in dark windbreakers strode up my walkway like they were serving a warrant on a cartel boss. The lead man wore U.S. Postal Inspection Service in massive yellow letters across his chest. My wife froze mid-bite. "Babe, is this because of the mailbox?" Before I could answer, they were pounding on the door so hard the wreath trembled. I opened it, and the lead inspector, a refrigerator-shaped guy with a mustache that screamed no nonsense, flashed a badge and said, "Are you the owner of the obstructed mailbox at this address?" I just nodded. He glanced past me at the half-eaten pizza and added, "We need you to step outside, sir. Right now." The entire street was wrapped in yellow tape. Neighbors filmed from behind curtains like this was a premiere of a new Netflix docuseries. And there she was, Karen, standing on her porch in yoga pants and a visor like she was heading out for a morning power walk. Except her face had gone completely pale. One of the inspectors was already approaching her with a clipboard in that slow, terrifying calm cops get when they know the suspect is absolutely cooked. They positioned me on my lawn as a forensic tech in gloves photographed the mailbox from every angle. He even pulled out a compact saw and began cutting a precise square out of cement block. Said they needed the entire piece as evidence. Every time the saw screeched, Karen flinched like her soul was being sliced. Then came her first small stroke of bad luck. The inspector approached me with an evidence bag and held up a tiny plastic fragment they'd pulled from the cement. "Recognize this, sir?" It was a broken piece of cement bag spout, the same bright orange kind sold at Home Depot, stamped in faded ink. Purchase 101125947 p.m. store number 1872. The very night my mailbox turned into a concrete tomb. They had the store security footage too. Karen in the exact pink robe she waved at me in. Loading 4 bags of Quikrete into her Lexus at 9:52 p.m., smiling at the cashier like she was buying birthday cupcakes. My knees wobbled. This wasn't a tantrum. This was premeditation. She drove to Home Depot in her nightgown like some deranged suburban Batman. The lead inspector, Agent Rivera, looked me straight in the eye and said, "Obstructing a mailbox is a federal felony, up to 5 years. But pouring cement, that's destruction of government property and mail tampering. She's looking at 10 if she's lucky." Across the street, 2 inspectors were now at Karen's door. I watched her attempt to smile that always charmed local police. But it vanished the instant they cuffed her. Actual handcuffs. She started shouting about HOA authority and private property rights. But Agent Rivera recited her rights loud enough for the entire cul-de-sac to hear. Then she did something I still dream about. She locked eyes with me as they escorted her down her flawless brick walkway and screamed, "This isn't over. You think you're safe? Ask your wife about the pool fund." My wife clamped onto my arm, so hard her nails dug into my skin. "What pool fund?" she whispered. I had no idea, but the way Karen said it, like she planted a nuclear warhead somewhere, made my stomach fold on itself. They loaded her into the back of an unmarked sedan. She didn't cry. She didn't blink. She just stared straight, ahead like a Terminator running on its last charge. As the inspectors pulled away, one returned with a search warrant and asked if they could check my backyard security camera, the one aimed at the side of Karen's property. I hesitated, then nodded. Immediately, I wished I hadn't. The footage from 2 nights prior revealed Karen moving in stealth mode, all black hoodie and gloves, pushing a Home Depot cart stacked with her cement bags across her lawn at 2:13 a.m. But she wasn't alone. Shadows revealed another figure helping her heft the heavy bags. That someone was wearing our neighborhood's reflective HOA president jacket. The figure glanced at the camera for a split second. It was Linda, the HOA vice president, the friendly one who always showed up with cookies, and in her hand, a cordless drill with the masonry bit still spinning. Karen wasn't acting solo. Whatever she was planning regarded my wife, and that pool fund was about to drag us into something far darker than a mailbox smeared in concrete. Agent Rivera snapped his notebook shut and looked at me with eyes that froze my blood for a second time that week. "Mr. Patel, we're going to need to see your bank statements." He sat us down at our own kitchen table, turning it into an interrogation scene. My wife's face went pale, nearly paper white. He slid a thick folder across and opened it. Bank statements, mine, hers, and a third set that made us both hold our breath. A joint account we'd opened 5 years earlier for community improvements, back when Karen rallied the street for a new pool and clubhouse. We'd forgotten it existed after years of delays. Rivera tapped a highlighted line. $187,000 missing, siphoned in small chunks over 26 months. Each transfer signed by 2 officers, President Karen Whitmore and Vice President Linda Chun. Turning the page, the money hadn't gone to contractors. It had gone offshore, Cayman Islands, and the last withdrawal, $42,000, happened the very night my mailbox was cemented. My wife's face went even paler. She remembered being the tiebreaker signer Karen insisted on for transparency. one signature from 5 years ago, and suddenly we were technically complicit in whatever this was. The room tilted. Rivera wasn't done. He pulled stills from my backyard camera and zoomed in. In one, Linda held the drill. In the next, Karen handed her a fat envelope. Cash. On the ground next to them, my missing mail, stacked thick, including one bright red envelope I recognized immediately. The certified IRS notice about an audit of that exact pool fund account. They weren't just stealing, they were destroying evidence. And when I started asking questions at the HOA meeting, hey, whatever happened to pool? Karen thought she could silence me forever, destroy my federal mailbox, and make it look like I was the unhinged one. She miscalculated. Postal inspectors don't do HOA politics. Within 48 hours, both houses were raided. They found leftover Quikrete bags in Karen's garage labeled with my address. They found offshore account numbers hidden in Linda's kitchen, inside a recipe box labeled cookies for new neighbors. Burner phones showed text between them. Karen 2:03 a.m. He's asking too many questions. Linda then buried the questions. Karen already bought the concrete devil face. Linda cracked first, traded information for a plea, and sang everything like she was auditioning for Broadway. How Karen skimmed for years, bullied the board, and used cement as her signature warning. 3 other neighbors had received the same treatment and stayed silent out of fear. Karen, stone cold, even tried to argue in the holding cell that postal inspectors had no jurisdiction in a gated community. They laughed and slapped on another charge, threatening a federal witness, after she was caught instructing Linda via jail phone to finish what the concrete started. Sentencing is next month. Karen faces 12 to 15 years federal, no parole. Linda got 8. Most of the money is gone, blown on Karen's Aruba timeshare and Linda's son's so-called private college consultant, who turned out to be a yacht broker. The feds returned every piece of my mail in a giant plastic bin. On top, the red IRS letter, now meaningless, because the missing funds were recovered from another account Karen forgot about. The auditor even sent a thank you note. Best of all, the neighborhood voted last week. New HOA president. Me, first motion. Every rule Karen ever wrote, gone. Second motion. The community pool, finally funded with the recovered money. Grand opening in April. If you enjoyed this story, hit that subscribe button. Every single sub motivates me to share even crazier HOA drama. Don't forget to tap the bell so you never miss a new upload. I'll see you next story where justice gets even sweeter.